how we do politics. Whilst in Ghana, people do things differently. They see themselves as enemies. But I don't see somebody that I belong to the same political party as my enemy. So I said it on all the media houses. I told them that whoever wins the election, I'll work with that person. So I was very free with Honorable Sika. So the people from Kennedy's camp felt like maybe we have an agenda. So on the day even of the voting, where I was parked, he came there, he came to greet me, his people were coming around. I was doing my own agenda. But don't forget something. In politics, yes, there's a saying that if you can't beat them, join them. I've said something to you. It's a proverb. If you can't beat them, join them. It's a proverb that I've said. That's all I can say. So there's something that happened on the day that also favored the MP. Because I realized that if even I was a delegate and I had the option to choose between Honorable Dr. Seven Amoah and then Honorable Kennedy Kankam, I would have gone for Honorable Seven Amoah.
So if you were a delegate, you guys were three, right?
Yes.
Yourself, Kennedy Kankam, and Steka. If you were a delegate, who would you have voted for? Put yourself in that bracket.
To be very honest with you,
yes.
The problem we have in Ghana is people don't vote on visions and policies.
Okay, what do they vote on?
You know.
Who come there? That's what I'm asking you. Who come
people
there?
don't vote on visions and policies. Because if you look at our election, I can say to you that I was the only candidate that was talking about my vision for the next 4 years. None of the other candidates were talking about what they would do in the next 4 years. You see, because it became very apparent at the earlier stages when Honorable Kennedy Kankam joined the race that they were going to compare what they have all done. So I can understand. Because they've all been a track record, what they have done in the past.
Yes.
So that between the two candidates, they were all talking about what they've done. But because I'm new, I had to talk about what I would do. So that was the difference. But the people obviously didn't want Honorable Kennedy Kankam to win. So I'm saying to the people of Nhyiaeso, it was a strategic move on the day. They decided to vote emphatically for Honorable Stephen Amoah to prevent Kennedy from winning the election. So that was what happened. Because people didn't like Kennedy. Kennedy thought that he's Nhyiaeso. Nhyiaeso has moved on. Nhyiaeso has actually moved on. So he doesn't have that strong pillar that he felt like he had, that control. Because in the last election, he lost by just 17 votes. And look at what happened last week. 215 vote difference. So that should tell you something. You see, Nhyiaeso says something emphatically on Saturday that they don't want Honorable Kennedy Kankam. You see, that is why they voted for Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoah. After the election, I've had a lot of calls from people that were saying to me, Honorable, wait, next 4 years is your turn. Because Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoah is not going again. Do you understand? So a lot of them, they liked my policies. But just that when they got to the crunch, they had to choose between the two. You see, they had to choose between the two. So the idea was, we don't want Kennedy. So we'll do everything to prevent him from coming. Okay. So they went massively to vote for Dr. Stephen Amoah. Because for me personally, he has done a better job, even representing Nhyiaeso. You see, after Dr. Anane left the scene, Honorable Kennedy Kankam had 4 years of being an MP.
Yes.
And I don't see what he did in Parliament. Because people forget that he was voted as a parliamentarian for Nhyiaeso. So he was meant to represent the people of Nhyiaeso in Parliament. And go and check the parliamentary hazard. If he made any contribution in Parliament, even at the committee level, there was no mention of him ever contributing to any discussion in Parliament.
Maybe he agreed with everything that was being said.
Oh, he was the MPs.
But when you agree
MPs.
But eventually, when you agree with what's being said, you keep quiet and you say yeah.
But it's not everything you have to say yeah. So he was the type that was always saying yeah. You have to be able to defend your party. You have to be able to talk about some of the policies. When you go to Google, type his name and see if anything will come in Parliament that he said in Parliament. But type Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoah, you will see that he's making a lot of contribution to our party in Parliament. You see, so that is why for me personally, as somebody that comes from Nhyiaeso, I would rather want Dr. Stephen Amoah to be my MP than Kennedy Kankam. Because Dr. Stephen Amoah, on a second note, also got an appointment, a ministerial appointment. Kennedy never had any chance of getting any appointment in government. You see, but Dr. Stephen Amoah is the Deputy Minister of Trade. You see, he's a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. You see, so he has actually lifted the image of Nhyiaeso.
So do you think why they chose him over you?
Oh, the reason why
now I'm trying to compare you and him.
The reason why they chose him over me is because I was a new candidate. A lot of the delegates said they didn't know me. You see, so they were sort of comfortable with, it's like the devil you know. Do you understand?
It's better than the angel
you don't know. So that is why after the election, if you were on the grounds, you know what people were saying. They started shouting my name. I wasn't the winner. I was third. But they were mentioning my name. You see, that I'm the next MP. You see, mentioning my name and saying all sorts of things. Because they liked my policies. But just that a lot of them said they didn't know me very well. So they decided to choose between the two MPs that they have actually known for years. And I don't blame them. And I'm excited. To be honest with you, after the election, I was so excited that Honorable Stephen Amwa won the election. Because if it was Honorable Kennedy can come, I don't think I would have finished crying by now. I will still be crying. After even a week, I will still be crying. Because he betrayed me. And I said to his team, they didn't understand.
Is he the one that did the campaign?
Yes. He betrayed me.
Honorable Kennedy can come did the campaign.
He did the campaign at Sweet Gardens.
Gardens.
At night before, Friday. He called them to get there around 7, from 7 to 5 a.m. So how do you call that?
7 p.m. to 5
a.m. in the morning. So how do you call that? Is it not campaign? You are keeping people from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. 2 hours before we go and vote, and then you are leaving them to go. Is that not campaign? So how do you call that?
But do you know exactly what happened over there?
Oh, I drove around there twice just to observe what was going there. And it was like a party for them. They were jubilating, thinking that they were going to win the election. You see? And that's one thing that was a big mistake on his part. You can't jubilate when you don't know what is going to happen in the election. And then he started saying that people were jubilating, thinking that, oh, he's won the election, it's going to be a landslide and blah, 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 and all that. And he didn't know what some of us were doing underground. The night that they were jubilating, we were also working. So the grounds we were working. And we know what we did in the night before the election. So if he wants to know, I can tell him that next time he should be serious of the election.
But he invested
a lot of money, but he should have rather allowed a different person to contest the election. And I'll be honest with you, I've had experience of people telling me that if Kennedy didn't come, the results would have been different. And I can tell you for a fact that perhaps that could have been the case. If he didn't come in the race, maybe today I'll be sitting here as a parliamentary candidate elect.
For Nhyiaeso.
Do you understand?
You came up third, right?
Yep.
How much did you give the delegates on election day?
Oh, my brother, you see, I told you I came from London. And London people, we believe in proper democracy. So for me, it is just a normal thing that I did not bus people to the venue. So I gave them something for transport, which I can't put on record. But I gave them something for transport.
Okay.
It varies from different amounts, depending on where the person is coming from. Do you understand? So depending on where the person is coming from, I gave them something for transport, which is okay. Because the people have wasted their time to come all the way from afar. My constituency is quite huge. You see, there are some people from Sokoban, Dabai, Apramai, people from Enyinem, and different parts of the constituency. And I had people that even came from Sunyane. Because they are students. They came all the way from Sunyane to come and vote.
So they came to vote for you. And so you gave them transportation.
It's not, you see, the thing I did, which is something that I believe really affected Kennedy's campaign. I did not give to only people that were voting for me.
You gave to
I gave to everybody. You see the difference? Whatever I gave to everybody that came to the ground. If only you come and I offer you, you take. That's it. But there are some people that they belong to Kennedy's camp, they never came for any transport money from me, which is a fact. But I can tell you that out of the over 800 and something that voted, maybe over 600 got something from me. Do you understand? Over 600 of them got something from me. So that is the difference between myself and Kennedy. Kennedy selected the people that he wanted to give them money. You see, I know people that waited from 10 p.m. till 5. When it goes to their 10, they say, we don't trust you. You are not going to vote for Kennedy, so we won't give you part of the money. You see? And the person got upset. How can you say that the person is not going to vote for you? You don't know. Something can change the person's mind.
Do you think the delegates didn't vote for you because your other people gave them more than you gave them?
That's a bit tricky. perhaps it had, I don't know, I don't want to think that they voted because of that. But for some of them, it influenced their decision. Some of them.
Okay.
It influenced. Because if you look at the difference of what the other candidates gave and what I gave, I can understand to some of them. But I told them they have to think of tomorrow, not just today. You don't think of what you are going to chop just today. You have to think of what you can get. Because I was thinking of bringing a progressive welfare policy, something that will benefit the whole police station executives. Because we don't have such a policy in our body politics. A lot of people suffer for our parties, the political parties, and then they don't get anything. But if you go to the constituency level, the regional level, and the national level, they are all benefited. No one who is a constituency executive will tell you that they've not benefited from our party. No one who is a regional executive can tell you they've not benefited from our party. No one who is a national executive can tell you they've not benefited from our party. What of the people that are at the bottom? The polling station executives. Over 95% have not benefited from the party. You see, so that is why I wanted to change that narrative. And it's something I will be working on. I've already pledged to work with Honorable Stephen Amoah. So in the next 4 years, I'll be working closely with him. And I'll see some of the things that I can do to help the delegates. Because that's one thing I believe. You see, some of them, we need to help them to set up their own businesses. Some of them, we have to help them to get training. Youth in IT. It is something that is really after my heart. So I'm going to sell the idea to Honorable Stephen Amoah so that we can actually implement that policy. I'm not going to wait for 4 years after to say I want to do it now. So with his help, I would think that if he wants to work with me, then perhaps he would also have to consider some of my policies and my visions. Something that can transform Nhyiaeso. That is where my interest lies.
Okay, I'll come back to you again for us to continue the conversation. But for now, let me go for a quick commercial break. This is still Orange 107.9, and my guest in studio is Mr. George Odoom. He is a parliamentary MPP parliamentary aspirant. He was on the tickets for the people of Nhyiaeso constituency. Do stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities of 1,000 cedis and upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. Call Quick Credit today, 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Get in on all the AFCON action with Betway. Bet 25 Ghana cedis or more on any game in Abidjan and earn a ticket to test your shooting skills in the all-new Sharpshooter game. Outsmart the keeper and you'll walk away with free bets and cash prizes up to 5 times a day. Get way more with Betway. Terms and conditions apply. No under 18. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Hello, babe.
Babe, are you free? We need to talk.
Calm down. Is everything okay?
Babe, the thing didn't come this month.
What thing?
My period now. See, I'm afraid. I think I'm pregnant.
You what? I thought you said you were safe. You know I can be a father now.
I know, babe. I don't know what happened. It's supposed to be my safe period.
Have you run a test?
Well, not yet. I'm afraid. Kojo, what if it's positive? Hello, babe. Are you there? Hello, babe. Babe.
Don't gamble with your chances. Speak with an expert at the Lydia Contact Center on 1221 or WhatsApp 0501 661 660 for advice on the various options available.
You're welcome back to Orange 107.9. My guest in studio is Mr. George Odoom. He contested to be a parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the MPP in Nhyiaeso constituency. Mr. Odoom, now let's take a look at something that is gradually eating into our body politics in the country, and it has to do with vote buying. There's a reason I was asking you all those questions, because it looks as if our politics is taking a turn, and several bodies have identified one of the biggest root causes of corruption at political campaign financing how politicians get power, how they invest so much to get power, makes it difficult for them to see money at the top and would want to bring it down here to develop constituencies and develop communities. Because eventually, when people demand so much from them and they can't afford, they opt for loans and other options. So when they get to the top and they get the money that is meant for you, they have to go and pay the loans they've already given to you. And so vote buying is a two-way thing. But my first question is, which party do you think we should largely put the blame? The two parties, talking about the politician and the citizen, they are the two parties here. Which party do you think should largely take the blame when it comes to vote buying? Is it the politician who is giving the money, or the citizens that are taking the money, or at times requesting the politician to bring the money? Which one?
I believe that it should be both, and I'm going to explain why.
I'm listening to you.
Because there are some delegates that if you don't give them the money, they won't vote for you. There are some delegates, if you don't give them the amount that they feel they deserve, so to say. So, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example. There's constituency A. Last 4 years, the winner paid 2,000 per delegate. But this year, he paid 3,000. So, do you know what's going to happen? That means in the next 4 years, he has to go to 4,000 per delegate. So, it is the delegates that are demanding for the money. Because the reason why they are doing that, because if you speak to them, I went around campaigning, and most of them will tell you they don't benefit from the party. So if they are not benefiting, they see this season as cocoa season, so to say, a time to harvest. Because this time you need their vote. So they are also, technically, they are selling the vote, technically. You see, because they are, whoever gives them a huge sums of money, obviously, they will favor that person. You see, so that is what happened. So if you look at our body politics, I think that we need to really address this situation of monetization in our body politics. Now, what is going to happen in a few years to come if we do not address it? That we even have armed robbers going to Parliament. Because armed robbers will have money to buy the seat.
But you let me paint a scenario for you. I am contesting an election with you. Both of us are the politicians in the contest.
Yes.
We go around campaign. They request for money. I don't give, you don't give, but they will still vote.
They will still vote.
So in that particular
so
election,
politicians have also got a role to play.
Exactly. But if you don't give and I give, then I have spoiled everything, because they were expecting you to give. Yeah. But if you don't give and we all agree that we are not giving, don't you think we can solve the
So that is why we need the political parties to make sure that they enforce their own rule. Do you understand? The political parties should ban the sharing of money during election. You see? Be it for transportation or whatever. Because I'm going to say something to you.
Do you think it can be banned?
It can be banned if they have the political will. Because, for instance, in my party, if my party decides that you can't do any sharing of money for transport or whatever name you give it, and if you do, you'll be disqualified. Who would want to be disqualified? So, for instance, there was 3 of us going for the election in Nhyiaeso. So imagine that there was a policy like that in our party. And then the party has got spies within the constituency. And they hear that these candidates are giving money. So that very night, they bring thinking that they've disqualified these 2 candidates. So the 3rd person is going unopposed because they have breached the rules of engagement. You see, so we need that political will. And in order for that to happen, we need to also come up with a policy to help the police station executives. Because the police station executives are not benefiting from the party. They will still want to demand money before they vote, or transportation before they vote. There's a constituency, I don't want to mention the constituency, but it's near Asqua. That's all I can say. That the 2nd person paid 4,000. The 1st person also paid 4,000. Imagine 4,000 each per delegate.
Per delegate.
So if you look at that money, you have to ask yourself this question. Where did they get the money from? That is the first question. And then how are they going to repay that money? Whether it's a loan or is their own money, how are they going to get it back? So that is something that the delegates have to think about. But to be honest, if you delegates don't really think about where you got the money from, they just want the money. They don't really care. Where the money is coming from is none of their business. Do you understand? Because I heard a current MP, after the election, he gave an interview and said that if our party does not resolve this issue of monetization in politics, for all political parties, NDC, MPP, any political party, then he is not going to contest next 4 years. Because he can't go for a loan of 30 billion to come and do a contest. 30 billion is like 3 billion Ghana cedis. So let's do this analysis. How much does MP get paid? Multiply by 48 months. It's not even up to 3 billion Ghana cedis. So how are they going to get the money back? So that is the reason why sometimes we have problems in our body politics. You see, because some of these people, where they got the money from is with high interest. You see, some of them is not free money. It's something they have to repay. And in Ghana now, if you go to the bank for a loan, there's an interest between 30 to 35% interest. So if the person went for a 3 million cedis loan to be able to share to whoever he wants to get their vote, then after the election, look at the amount that they will have to go and pay. So I feel sorry for those that obviously took large sums of money from banks to finance their campaign. I took a decision that I'm not going to do that. Do you understand? Because I don't want a situation after the election that you are owing so much. So you have to use your own resources, whatever you have. So I told the delegates, transport money is normal. There's nothing wrong with me giving you transportation because you came all the way from far. So I have to give you something to go back. And that's exactly what I did. But in the case of what happens in Ghana, in our body politics, there is a lot of issue that we need to address. And it's something that I need to tread very carefully. I wouldn't want to come out chastising the political parties. Do you understand? But I believe that you and I know there are issues that are happening.
Yeah, that's true.
There are things that are happening that we need to address.
But I have an interesting question. Do we pay people to exercise their right? Do we have to pay people to exercise their right?
No, in the West, it doesn't happen like that.
Because you have a right to vote.
Exactly.
And so we are trying to understand why we always need to pay people to exercise their right.
In the West, it doesn't happen like that.
Exactly. And so if we are not paying people to exercise their right, then it means we are paying them to influence their decision.
Exactly.
And that is where the problem is.
So it's about influence buying.
Exactly.
So they are trying to influence
that's
people.
That's where the problem is.
Yeah. Because you see, it is a normal phenomenon in our body politics now. If you look at what happens a night before the election, you see the money that flows in election. You'll be shocked. You hear of somebody paying 4,000 per delegate. You hear someone paying 3,000. Even I heard a place in Eastern region that someone was giving out plot of land.
For what?
Plot of land for vote. So these things are very serious. Plot of land for a vote. It was on the radio. They were discussing it. And they called the guy. The guy didn't even win. And he was... his people were upset. Now even there are stories, I don't know if it's true, that even in some constituencies in Kumasi, those that didn't win the election, they are calling the people to bring their money back. Because some people gave branded TV. We
read a story this morning where one
3,000 Ghana.
Yes, one aspirant has rained curses on the delegates.
Exactly.
He has taken them to Antwerp. That if you took
can you blame him?
I didn't vote for me.
Because they took the money without voting for the person.
But you brought the money.
Yeah, but the point is, you see, let's be realistic here.
Yes.
The person is, the only reason why the person is giving you whatever he's giving you.
Because he wants you to vote for.
He wants you to vote for. So if you know you are not going to vote the person, why do you have to take the person's gift?
So citizens too should also reject the money.
Exactly. So the delegates and the polling station executive should reject that inducement.
That brings me to something I wanted to draw your attention. Former President John Mahama, he says, take the money but vote against them.
Oh, it's true. But in the case of, because now, you see, some people are afraid that if they take the money, they don't vote for the person, then it would really come back to hunt them.
But John Mahama says, oh, don't feel free,
okay.
Take the money.
Let me give you a scenario. In my constituency,
yes,
somebody paid a certain amount,
yes,
for transport.
Yes.
And I believe, I'm told he paid between 500 and 600 delegates. He gave them that amount.
Did the person win?
No, he didn't win.
So we know the person you're talking about.
So that's 18 billion.
So now
the amount that he gave that night was just 18 billion. So if you look at
the night at Sweet Gardens.
My brother, don't put words in my mouth.
Okay,
I said somebody.
Okay.
You know, the person knows himself.
Okay.
Somebody spent over 18 to 20 billion just that night. Sharing of money.
What?
You see? And the person didn't win. So you share all that huge sums of money and you don't win. That is why after the election, some of them, their pressure goes up to the roof. You see? Some of them stay away from politics for some time because of the bitterness that they spend all this money and they didn't win. You see? So it doesn't make sense. So that is why I'm proposing to my party that we need to find a way to help the delegates, to help the police station executives. We don't have to wait till election. So we have to create jobs for them. Those that are not working. That is why I brought the issue of youth in IT, youth in apprenticeship, and then financial assistance for traders. These are some of the things we can give to them, even before election, so that these people will have jobs to do. I'll tell you something that happens in the UK. In the UK, it's the other way around. It's the party members that give money to the candidate to campaign. But whilst in Ghana, it's the delegates that give money to the party members. It doesn't make sense. When you go to the US, it's the party members that are contributing to fund political parties. In the case of Donald Trump, do you know the billions that he's raising every day? It's the Republican Party members that are paying the money to help because they want their party in government. So we need to change that narrative. We need to do a lot of education and let the delegates and the polling station executive know that they rather even have to support their party to stay in power. And what happens is, if your party is in power, you benefit one way or the other. But if they are not benefiting, that is when they wouldn't want to give any money to help. So we as a political party, we have to do things to help our members.
I have a message here from my very good friend Henry. This one says, Rahim, the problem is the politicians have deliberately refused to put policies in place to create decent jobs to empower the citizens to be self-reliant so that they continue to buy their conscience. If citizens were well-to-do and very okay, there's no way they would demand money before voting for the right candidate. So it looks as if the politician here knows what he's doing. When you empower them, they become self-reliant. You can't buy their conscience. So let's malnourish them. Let's press them down so that when they are poor and there's nothing, because it will amaze you that Kumewu by election, people voted for you because of 3 cups of rice. 3 cups of rice.
Poverty. That's all because of poverty.
When we went to Ascend North, 50 cities, 20 cities, they were voting for people. So, I mean, this particular message brings us a different twist to the conversation where the politician has deliberately created a cycle where you press the citizens down and when they are malnourished, when any little thing you give them, you can buy them in.
So meaning that poverty has a role to play in some of these things.
And whose duty is to eradicate poverty?
It's
the person who takes the taxes from us.
Exactly. You see, that is why I said we have to blame the politicians and also the delegates. Because the delegates were also to vote based on issues. To be honest with you, if the delegates in my constituency voted on issues, I'll be here sitting as a parliamentary candidate.
And so assume you are a delegate.
Yeah.
Would you vote on issues on an empty stomach?
My brother, to be very honest with you,
if you haven't eaten the whole day, will you still listen to
very honest with you,
skills development
for me,
and vote for somebody?
I believe in voting based on issues and policies.
Even on an empty stomach?
Yes, I also vote. If I might take your money, but I will go and vote for the person I think is the right candidate. Do you get the point? Because this one, if even nothing can happen to you. If I was a delegate, I would have taken money for all the people that were contesting. If you offer, I won't reject. I'm being honest. I can't be a hypocrite and sit here and say, I will not take the money. I will not take the money. I'm holier than thou. No, I will take the money, but I'll still go and vote based on my conscience. Do you understand?
So you have the same stance as John Mahama.
Exactly.
When he says, take the money, but vote against them if you don't believe in them.
Exactly. That is what I was trying to spread that message in Nhyiaeso. But you see, something happened that made me to sort of know that message wasn't going to really make any impact. Because at the time of the election, people were thinking of the hardship they were in. You see? So if you are telling them, take the money and go and vote for the right candidate, they were not thinking like that. They were rather thinking, oh, the person has given me this money, so I have to vote for that person. You see? So put it this way. One candidate got 520 votes. Another candidate got 305 votes. Yeah? But the one that got 305 votes paid money to about 600 people. So why didn't the rest voted for him? Do you get the point? So meaning that we still have some people within the police station executives that they don't vote based on the money you give them. They took one candidate's money, they went and voted against him. Do you understand? Because he didn't share money to only 305. He shared to about 600 people. And he got 305. So what happened to the 295? Where did their vote go to? Their vote went somewhere else. You see? So that is something that we need to really educate the police station executives. So it's something that we need to work on. And I believe that it is a challenge for the political parties. Because a day is coming, a lot of the good people wouldn't want to go into politics because of the money that is involved in. I'm going to say something that will shock you. In our body politics now, you can't win an election in Ghana if you have less than 1 million Ghana cedis. You cannot win an election. I'm telling you. You can't win an election if you have less than 1 million Ghana cedis. That's like owed over 10 billion. You see? You need that amount as a start. That's just a starting money. That's just a starting money. So even that, it doesn't guarantee that you are going to win, but it's just a starting money. Because even when you are going to meet people, you still have to spend money. Whatever you do during the campaign, you still have to spend money. During Christmas, people were sharing money. A constituency, some people were giving 500 plus rice and oil. Look at the number of delegates. So look at the money involved. You see? So it's a huge sums of money. You see? So that is what I'm saying that for a start, you need that. And I know of a candidate that won, that he said he spent 5 million Ghana cedis. You see? About 50 million. 50 billion. The old currency about 50 billion to win the election. So if the person is spending 50 billion and the salary for 4 years, it's not even half of that amount. So what is going to happen? When the person comes, don't you think he's going to try to recover part of the money? There was an NDC MP that said something, Sam George. He said something that when he went for his primaries in Pram, the time that he wanted to get rid of E.T. Mensah, the late E.T. Mensah,
yes,
he sold his house. He sold his own house, you see, and used the money to fund his campaign. And do you know the funny thing he said? Yeah. He said after the election, he was able to buy a better house for his wife. So that should tell you something. After the election, he was able to buy a better house for his wife.
From which money?
For which money? That's the question you need to ask yourself. So you need to ask the NDC, for which money are they getting the money to buy these houses? You see? So that is why we need to change the narrative. We need to really talk about issues and policies. And the party, we need strong leaders. If the structures work and we have strong leaders, some of these things will not happen. So after our election, I know that JFK, our General Secretary, is talking about bringing some changes. You see, I believe they should expand the number of people that vote in each constituency. Because if you come to my constituency, the last election, I think over 51,000 people voted for MPP and our current MP. You see, so if you are able to expand the number of people that can vote in the constituency to maybe over 50,000, who is going to be able to pay that money? So 50,000 times 4,000 or 3,000, no one can afford it. So it will cut down the issue of monetization, but it will still be there. I'm not somebody that I'm not realistic.
So what do you think is the way forward? Before we talk about something else, what do you think is let's look at the way forward for this whole...
The way forward is that
yes,
we should ban sharing of money in elections. And we should empower the security agencies, the police, the BNI, to be working. And those that are sharing money, they should be arrested. If we ban them and make it illegal, then delegates will know that we have no option, we can't pay that money. You see, but if we don't ban it, I'm telling you, we will still pay. If it's something that is not banned in our body politics, a lot of politicians will still pay. Because they know that is the only way they can get elected. But if we ban it, and we make it a requirement, and then you sign an undertaking, because we fill up a form before we contest. So you sign an undertaking that you will not do any sharing of money. And then let's leave the sharing of the transport money to the political parties to do it. Because the political parties took money from us when we contested the election. In the case of MPP, if you are not a sitting MP, we paid 78,000 Ghana. Old currency, 780 million Ghana cedis. So the party could have afforded to give the delegate transport money. It shouldn't be the candidate giving money. So if we change that process, and then the money that is taken from the candidate before the contest, then we can give part of it to give it to the delegates for transport. And if for transport you give them 100 cedis, it is okay. No, anywhere in Ghana, apart from those that perhaps will be coming from very far to come and vote, that they need more than 100. But most of them live within the locality anyway. And they can come and just 100 cedis after voting, the party has to be doing the sharing, not the candidate. So even if they can increase the application fee that you have to pay, or the money you have to pay, it is better, so that the party will rather manage the sharing of the transport money. so that it will help the party to get quality people in parliament. Because if we don't take care, I'm making a prediction, a time will come that we'll have armed robbers in parliament. Because they will have the money. We'll have cocaine dealers that will come in parliament because they have money to buy the vote. A time will come, we'll have Sakawa people running our country because they have the money. So we need to change that narrative. If we are not able to change it, meaning that we are failing our nation, and we can't afford to fail our nation, we need to get rid. This is also part of corruption. So the corruption starts from even election. You see, so we need to try and get rid of some of these things so that it will help to alleviate corruption in our body politics. Okay. So it is very important. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, before we go, I wanted to take your just a brief comment on something. You mentioned that you had lived in the UK for over 20 years now. Yeah. The 24-hour economy by the NDC, is it feasible?
You see, when you talk about a 24 hours economy, we already have a 24 hours economy. Let me explain. Go to the industries in a Tema. A lot of them are running 24 hours operation.
Yes.
It's according to the need of the business. You see, if you go to Obuasi Gold Mine, they were, for so many years, it was 24 hours operation. They were working 24 hours. And we have a lot of industries that are working 24 hours already. So when you talk about 24 hours economy, we already have in the system. Go to Abipo, Bantuma High Street. They don't sleep the whole night. There is businesses going on. So we have 24 hours economy already. But I think that the NDC is trying to throw dust in the eyes of Ghanaians, trying to think that it's a new thing, something new that they are bringing. My brother, if I have a business and I don't need to open for 24 hours, can you force me to open 24 hours?
I can't.
It's according to the need of the business. So we have production. People that are into production, they need 24 hours operation. People that are into distribution, they need 24 hours operation. We have transport operators operating 24 hours. Don't you have taxi drivers driving the whole night? So we have 24 hours economy already. But it's just a gimmick, so to say, that the NDC is trying to think that they are bringing something new just to entice people.
Okay.
Perhaps what he should have said was, he's going to bring a lot of industries and he will make sure they run 24 hours so that they can employ more people. That makes sense if you say it that way. But to throw dust and say 24 hours economy, someone will go 6 to, in the UK, we have industries that they operate 24 hours. Some that don't operate 24 hours because they don't need to do that according to the need of the business. So there are some people, they go to work from 6 in the morning, they finish at 2. And another group will come in 2 to 10. And another group will come 10 to 6. It goes on. So the company never shuts down. The whole year, there's going on. So that's why we say 365. That one too is the economy not running. 365 days, the economy is running. So I believe that His Excellency John Dramani should come again when it comes to 24 hours economy. It is a good thing to say, but he has to really explain further. Perhaps he should talk about how he's going to help to create more jobs and bring a lot of industries, especially in production, so that we'll cut down our import bill. Because a country like us, we're importing toothpicks, we're importing handkerchief, even common handkerchief, we are importing it from China. Common things that we can do in our country, we are importing it. That is why my party is doing really well about 1D, 1F, one district, one factory. We've set up a lot of one district, one factories, which is helping. So I believe that if we allow His Excellency, the Vice President, to continue, Dr. Bawumia, we will have a great transformation in Ghana that will bring about a lot of job creation. He's a digital man. He's thinking about AI. A time is coming, my brothers, you are sitting here, your job, someone will be doing it. You see, they will program it, it will be AI. You see, that will be running your show. And there will be someone sitting there asking questions that is perhaps not even a human being. They will have robots.
And what would I be doing?
You have to find something else to do. So that is why we have to make sure we are prepared for jobs of tomorrow. Because in your case, like a morning show program, I think it's going to be difficult to.
It will be difficult for you to program an AI to do. It will still be human beings.
Maybe when it comes to playing of music,
the music play, that one the AI can take the playlist and just do it.
There's a TV station in Ghana. I forgot, is it Max TV or there's a TV station that they have a news segment that they do in the evening. It's just AI. They've got robots that come and give the news. You see, so it's already working. So they never say never. Anyway. My brother, a time will come maybe it will happen.
Anyway, we would,
Thank you very much.
because of time, we'll leave it here. But we'll
Thank you
make
very
time to expand this conversation because we need to delve more into,
Thank you very much.
especially looking at the things that have happened
Thank you very
over. Yes, my guest in studio was Mr. George Odoom. He contested to be an MPP parliamentary candidate for the people of Nhyiaeso, and he joined me in studio today. This is his first time here in our studios, and we are hoping to have him here more time. We still have some few minutes to go, but Mr. Odoom would have to take leave of us. And then when I come back again, we'll go to the earlier conversation from the Ghana Statistical Service, and I'll allow you to come through with your calls this time.